Hey everybody, and welcome back to the shop. Today we're working outside where it's fairly windy, which makes it a little bit nice. Got a little bit of shade. And we're working on an 06 Ford Taurus. This car is mine. It loaned it to my mother-in-law, and they called last night and said it wouldn't crank. Got over there and jumped it off, and the belt was burning the belt up. So what has happened is the AC compressor pulley bearing has locked up on it. This is a fairly new AC compressor on this car. It never was really charged up, and for some reason the pulley bearing is locked up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the newer AC, the one that's on here, off and put the old one back on, just to get them down the road this summer until we can afford to fix it right. It's kind of a situation where this is the only vehicle they have to go in, so we need to get it back on the road. And the cheapest I can do is just stick the old one back on and put a new belt on it. So I'm going to bring you on the hood. I'll show you what's going on over there and how we're going to get this fixed. Alright, so under the hood, the AC compressor lives right here, and as you can see, it's very tight. You can, and about the only way to get this compressor out is to maneuver it through this area right here and pull it out. So we've got to remove this high pressure power steering line. We've got to take these two fans out, and I believe we can maneuver it around the O2 sensor there and get it out. Now, like I said, I'm not worried about charging this thing back up. I'm going to unplug everything. That's 4 bolts hosed in. We've got a belt right here. You can see this belt, just what little bit I ran it to get it on this tow dolly has pretty much wiped the belt. Yep, pretty much broke the belt. Alright, so I thought it might have been this power steering pump, but I got to looking as we was running it. This pulley on this compressor is locked up. We'll take a little more detailed look at that when I get it off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this out of the way. It just pops up and you kind of set it out. Of course, first thing to do is undo the battery. Got to replace this clamp. And one screw holds each of these. You can see it down in there. One screw holds the fans on. We'll unplug them, pop them out, and then we'll get this suction thing and get all the fluid out where I can undo this hose, undo it right here, and this clamp right here. We'll lay it out of the way, and I'll bring you back. Okay, with the battery unplugged, this out of the way, I've pulled the two fans out, and I will mention on these fan plugs, you have to push down on this end here. See how brittle they are. You have to push down on them. I didn't mean to do that, but anyway, there's a hole in it right here where that plug goes to help push it down. You can kind of stick something in there. Oh well. So now we're ready to get all the fluid out of this pump, and what I use is just a pump I bought from Harbor Freight. We've got an inside and an outside, a little can here to catch the oil in, and we'll just stick that in there and pump away and pump the oil out. So I got my line unscrewed, 18 millimeter that attaches to the pump, a 13 millimeter nut here, and 11 millimeter nut there. You don't have to take that nut all the way out. It just needs to get loose where you can kind of move it around a little bit. This is how I got it hooked right here. Now I believe we should be able to get to this pump fairly easy. We got one little nut down here. Let's see with my finger right there. That attaches the lines to the pump, and then 4 bolts the pump to the block with the belts already off. This car does not have a belt diagram on it, so thankfully the last time I worked on it I made a belt diagram. Looks like this. So you got your crank, your AC compressor, your tensioner, your water pump, alternator, a little idler pulley, and then the power steering pump. So that's the route in order for the belt, in case anybody needs to know. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to unbolt this manifold. Now there's no pressure on this system because it had a leak, and so we should be able to just unbolt it and unbolt the 4 bolts in the pump. We're going to pull the pump out in this area down here. We've got to be careful going around this O2 sensor. There are a few connectors down there we got to move. And it's hard to get to from the bottom. It's this big old frame down here. It's almost impossible to get to that stuff from the bottom. So everything will be coming out the top. So a few connectors in here we've got to unplug and plug back up when we get done. Alright, so here it is off the car. And we can definitely see we got big issues. Big issues. I think it's supposed to look like that. See, whole thing's sideways. So it looks like this brad broke right here and allowed this thing to shift. And so it basically just locked up on there. So here's the old one. You can tell it's a lot better quality. I think this is probably the original. And if I hold that, see, it's turning free. So I'm just going to stick this back on. So this came from Advanced Auto Parts. It's a Tough 1, part number 58168. This is the second Tough 1 air compressor, not particularly this style, but one I bought for the truck that has locked up and given problems. I'll never buy another Tough 1 air compressor, AC compressor, never again. So we're going to stick this old one back on. I did seal it up when I took it off. I didn't really think I thought the seal was blown in it, but it actually, come to find out, was the hose blown. So shouldn't be anything in here. I sealed it as soon as I took it off. I'm just going to stick the manifold back on here and tighten it down just to keep it from getting trash in it. And I'm not going to worry about plugging it up. I'm just going to bolt it up. It's got these 2 little inserts here that help you line it up on the bolts. And there it's starting to rain again. And Mother just left with the bush hog. I guess she'll be turning around coming back. So anyway, it was no problem once I got that far top bolt. That was the bitch. That's the one you're going to be in here, and it's on the block. This side's the block, so it's in here like this. This bracket goes on here like that. You need to go ahead and insert this bolt into your AC compressor before you try to get it on. You will not be able to take it out or put it in once this is mounted, so be sure to put it in there first. And let's get this thing in before it really goes to storming. I got it all buttoned back up. Got a new battery clamp. I don't like these, but I just didn't have time to get the correct one. That's back on. Fans are back on. The hardest thing about the fans is getting those little when plugs line up in the slots. Like I said, they ain't but one bolt. Once you get it lined up, it'll drop in, bolted up, you know you got it. That wasn't no problem. Get back on. Bolt it there, put some fluid back in here. Now the fun part is the belt. Okay, I'm going to try to set y'all over. You can see I've got the belt routed basically the way it needs, except it needs to come up and go down in the back. So we're going to go ahead and put it on this. This is 15 millimeter. I got to get down here on this pulley and get this other one and go this way with it. I got a tool, but apparently I left it when I was working on this car. I probably left it in the other vehicle, but anyway, we'll try to get this 15 millimeter on this pulley down here. Very tight fit. This might help. Like I said, bought the tool yesterday for this job. It's not the best tool. It's a little bit aggravating, but probably a little better than this. This thing right here, get your hand hurt. See that? How easy that thing flops back. No, you bastard. Oh shit. This one. Let's smoke it over a little bit. Let's smoke it over. Just fall, dang it, fall. You can actually get down here and feel on the crank. That ain't the issue. The AC compressor is the hardest one. It looks like it's in there though. Just got a little bit of room to get your hand down on it. That feels good, that feels good. It's a little bit off on this idler pulley, but it'll probably straighten up. Actually, I'll probably tighten that and maybe loosen it up just a little bit. Let's see, push. Alright, well, give y'all a look and we'll crank it up. Alright, so one thing I did notice was this belt has a different part number than the old belt. It's 6PK2170 and the old belt is a 2160. Now, so I wonder if that was the wrong belt is what caused all this issue, but that belt was on there with this compressor. So we'll look on, there's a little indicator right there. Let's see if I can get a little light on it so we can see a little peg sticking out right there. Ain't gonna focus. So I don't know what that means. Is this thing gonna be too loose? I guess we'll find out when I crank her up. I'll crank her up and see what she'll do. That power steering pump's a little low, so this belt looks a little loose to me. I don't like it. How much deflection's in that belt? I put a little fluid in this power steering pot. Got some little smoky going on where I dumped a little oil down there, but it'll burn off.